Hi class. What I want to do in these videos is talk about these confidence intervals that are covered in section 9.4. So I want to just quickly run through three mindscapes with you for this. Okay, so here's mindscape number 9. Suppose two surveys are taken to determine the percentage of the population find green catnip appealing. I wouldn't be a part of that. So one survey reports that 45% of the population likes green catnip with now this is important, plus or minus 12% margin of error at a 95 confidence level. Now that is a rather large margin of error. So here's the deal. When you have a really large margin of error, it most likely means you had a very small sample size and you are not really confident in your results. The second bigger, notice the word bigger survey reports that 41% of the population likes green catnip with a plus or minus 1% margin of error at a 95% confidence interval. What that means is, notice how the margin of error is much smaller. What that means in terms of statistics, you are much more confident in your results. So is the percentage of people in the whole population who like green catnip more likely to be closer to 45% from the small survey or 41% from the big survey? Well, because the bigger survey had a much smaller margin of error, it means we're more confident in our results, and the real value is much more likely to be closer to 41%. All right, let's take a look at another question. All right, you want to gather data about voters in Wyoming and California. Okay, California has approximately 14 million registered voters. That's crazy. And Wyoming has approximately 265,000. All right, which of the following samples would give more reliable results? If you talk to 265 voters in Wyoming or 1,400 voters in California. Well, what you might think is like, well, this 250 is a much larger percentage of this 265,000, and 1,400 voters is a much smaller percentage of the total 14 million voters. Well, it turns out in polling, and especially in these type of survey results, you want to get to at least 1,000, no matter how big or small your population is. So even though this 265 is a larger proportion of this number, the more accurate results would actually come from this 1,400 voters, because that's over the 1,000 we're looking for. Okay, so the more accurate results would be the ones from California here because of the larger sample size. Okay, next question here. You want to gather data about voter preferences. Okay, which of the following samples will give more reliable results? 1,200 voters sampled from a population of 1,200, or excuse me, 120,000 people, or the same number, 1,200 voters chosen from a population of 180,000. Well, remember, you just want to get over 1,000, okay? And they're both going to produce equally accurate results. So even though you're sampling the 1,200 from 120,000, those results are still going to be just as accurate as the 1,200 people from the 180,000. Okay, so just remember here, the key takeaways here. Smaller margin of error, more accurate results, and as long as you're over 1,000 roughly people in your sample size, your results will be generally accurate no matter how large the population is.